And so another week down and another big old pile of stories gets dumped on my desk. I sifted through just for you, so let's see what this world is up to. Welcome to news nobody wants to talk about. Sad news out of Hollywood as beloved director, producer, and comic book writer Richard Donner passes away on Monday at the age of 91. Donner was famous for helping make movies like The Goonies, Lethal Weapon, and the OG Superman with Mr. Reeves, as well as others like The Lost Boys, The Omen, Scrooge. I could go on because he did. The X-Men movies, Twilight Zone, tons. He, like those in the industry who showed us what our imaginations were capable of and created an entire generation of dreamers and creators who made their own ideas and dreams a reality. He will be missed. I, for one, love his contribution to cinema and blame him and Cyndi Lauper for my connection to the Goonies. Goonies never say die. Netflix is scooping up as many shows and movies as it can recently to compete with the budding streaming platforms that are rampaging online lately, and they are not disappointing. What with The Witcher and other shows and movies starting a new run or second season, we are all in for the winter of binge-watching a Coco. For those fans of Cuphead and his pal Mugman, get ready to see just how that devilish deal went down and what led them to that dark feel and the bright and colorful The Cuphead show. Said to air on Netflix later this year, the show centers around the two Cup buddies and just what happens when you gamble at the Devil's Casino, including how the bosses we fought in the game came to be in the Devil's Den. That poor onion. Featuring a cast like Wayne Brady, who's a killer voice actor, Gray DeIsle, who voiced Mandy in The Grim Adventures of Billy Mandy, as well as others. You can bet this is going to be one hell of a show. Tune in later this year for Cuphead show. I know I will. I love that game. Fans of the Disney's Falcon and the Winter Soldier are in for a treat oh, frick, wait, is this a spoiler warning? Do I get to do a spoiler warning for the first time ever? Spoiler warning! That was awesome. Marvel's fast-tracked production on instantly after the ending of that show of the fourth installment of the Captain America franchise with this latest edition. Knowing what we know from the show, Sam took up the mantle after some apprehension to become the icon he followed for so long, and was unsure that he could live up to the mantle himself. And fans are torn but not put off. And an old Steve Cap movie would be stupid now, and for a prequel, I'm so glad that won't happen. Are you stoked to see a new Cap movie in the works? Or is it not a Cap movie without America's ass? I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. Comments, people, the comments. This stings a little because I'm both fans of these men, but it seems recently that the legendary Quentin Tarantino has had some less than savory things to say about the almost mythological martial artist that was Bruce Lee. It turns out that Bruce Lee was depicted rather unfavorably in his latest movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, showcasing him as an arrogant upstart in this version of Hollywood during the 60s and 70s. It turns out it was so bad that Shannon Lee, Bruce's daughter, had felt the urge to speak out in her father's defense. However, after hearing this, Mr. Tarantino said, "I understand she has a problem with how I depicted her father. It's her father. Everyone else can blank my blank." To which she replied, "I'm blanking tired of old white men trying to tell me who Bruce Lee was." This is where my comments become your battlefield, because I don't know if I'm giving this too much energy, but I want to know what you guys' opinion is. I, for one, think that both men are legends in their field. I just don't think Quentin has the full picture where Mr. Lee is concerned. Man, we had a couple of tough topics today, didn't we? The Supernatural fellas just won't let that series die as we scoot along with more rehashing. Now, I enjoyed the show Supernatural, just not some of its fans, as I remember cowering behind a chair after saying, "Doesn't that seem like a continuity error that just became canon?" and almost dying in a sea of trench coats and salt. But fans rejoiced as I learned from the grapevine that a prequel is in production. Yes, y'all, it's time we get to see how Mama fared against the demons and what Pops did to cope and raise his boys. Now, seeing as how I can kind of guess how the series ends, spoiler warnings, one is enough. One spoiler warning is enough. I hope they really knock it out of the park. What do y'all think? Were you fans of the series too? What was your favorite episode? Let me know down in the comments below. Mine was the Scooby-Doo crossover because I'm a huge nerd. Okay, this next one has me slightly twisted. Remember the Powerpuff Girls, that quirky little cartoon about the three sisters created in the lab by the Professor Utonium to fight Jojo, and him, and all those other villains? With its adorable little bright animations and its all bubbly attitude and stuff? And then it got remade and it was wildly mediocre. Well, you would think that people would leave that one alone eventually, right? Well, if you said yes, you would be oh so very wrongy McWrongerson, because the CW decided that that show needed an angsty teenage drama revamp, and the story just to drive it into the ground. Or it'll have 10 seasons and a standalone movie trilogy. What is your opinion, guys? Honestly, I just don't think this is a good idea, but what do I know? I'm just a puppet. Wrapping up media news, I'm beyond stoked for this one, guys. Well, I mean, if you didn't know by my show, literally about Saturday morning cartoons, I love Saturday morning cartoons! And He-Man Masters of the Universe was one of those shows. Well, now a whole new generation of people can see this hero in a whole new way. Kevin Smith got his hands on this and created a masterclass of a program scheduled for release, I think, this month on the 23rd. Its cast is insane, featuring talents like Chris Wood, Dietrich Bader, and Kevin Conroy as Batman himself, as the transformed He-Man. Not to mention Liam Cunningham as Man-at-Arms and the absolutely fabulous Mark Hamill, parallel to Conroy once again, this time as the Scourge of Eternia, Skeletor. Be sure to keep an eye out for this one. It's going to be freaking amazing. Trailer, please. I need a hero.
I have the power!
Check it out when it airs later this month. Moving into video game news, I've got some goodies for you, and what better way to get started than with a jump straight into news about The Sims. Oh yes, people, this channel doesn't stray away from the tough topics like family and trying to survive cottage living. Yes, indeed, my nobodies, now The Sims can move out into the country in this adorable new DLC. Raise and befriend your barnyard animal buddies, like cows, horses, and chickens. And live off the land as you farm your own food and materials for making stuff. Isn't that neat? And see everything the cozy little town of Henford-on-Bagley has to offer with its shops and its pub for socializing. It seems to be freaking cute as heck, and again, EA heard what its fans wanted and responded correctly. Get ready to find out what the cow says. Check it out when it drops July 22nd. Ghost of Tsushima fans are going to go bananas after they hear what I gotta say. This game is by far one of the most incredible stories and cinematic experiences of the gaming industry, and I loved playing it. But the devs just released news that they are releasing a director's cut of the game featuring not only new footage and extras, but a whole new explorable island with its own story. Get ready to spill samurai blood once again in this new edition. Now the full game, if you haven't bought it yet, is still going to be full price. But the owners of the game can buy the director's cut DLC package for $19.99 and add it to their already existing awesomeness. Now tell me, who's excited for that? That's going to wrap it up for news nobody wants to talk about. Thank you for tuning in. You guys make this whole thing worth doing, because at the end of the day, I'm nobody. I love your face, and I will see you next time.